Hi everybody, this is Duncan again. I'm just going to give you a little update on the 46. As you can see, it's starting to go back together. We've done a number of small items on it. Got the crash bar on, the rider springs, the seat, the luggage rack is put on, the brakes are all done and put back on. Nice brand new OEM original coil is all mounted on the bracket. We've been working a lot on a lot of the little hardware pieces, bringing them all back. As you can see on here, everything has been derusted, getting ready to go on. All the little pieces, all the parkerizing has all been brought back out to its original finish. And this was the finish that was on these pieces. I haven't reparkerized them, but we're using a special technique that brings it all sort of back and makes them look fresh again.
And keeps it from derusting.
And it keeps it from derusting. Little things like this, your bracket on here, this is all original finish. So this is all getting ready now to go together. I'm doing a little bit of repair to the rods, actually building up the material where the rods have worn so that that's all really fresh, but it's original, all the rods are going to be original. So it's just starting to come together quite nicely.
We even have an original cam for it, don't we?
Yes, we do. The cam is original cam in it, yes. In fact, over here, if you want to follow me.
Hey, let me get some of this side here real fast. So, I brought out a mass spectrometer. This is Todd speaking. And I'm sorry to say, we have an original paint frame and oil tank, Harley-Davidson paint on the tanks and fenders, but it is a era repaint. It is not factory paint.
What we suspect here is that this motorcycle was in some sort of accident probably early in its career, probably sometime between 1946 and 1950, 52. And it was repaired at that time, and the paint job was then put at this time. The paint material is very, very old period, basically late 40s, early 50s. And also, under my examination of this, I found that there was actually some work done on the fender, and it was all done with lead. Right. So the fact that this was leaded and no Bondo ever used really sort of sets that period as to the time. There's absolutely zero.
Show them the bottom of the fender.
If you look, for instance, right here, in this area here, it's a little hard to see, but right in here, this is lead.
That's lead.
Now the other nice interesting thing about here is if you look down on this corner here, it's hard to see in this light probably, but this area right in here you can see at one time was probably crushed in, probably from the wreck or whatever. Right. And this was all hand hammered out and smoothed from the outside using file work and lead work. If you look and examine it from this side, there's absolutely smooth as a baby's ass, and there's absolutely no Bondo. And that's sort of a early bodyman type of stuff before Bondo existed.
There's a lot more work than Bondo and a lot more skill, and very poisonous.
And very poisonous. So.
And you were saying they don't make this paint after about 65 or 62?
This paint, after it was I just took this paint, cleaned it, and basically rubbed it out with some rubbing compound and brought it out. So this dark, intense red that you see on this thing really went out of existence in the late 50s. It basically became a war effort color and pigment. Very few cars, if you guys all remember, any cars from about 1960 up that were painted red all faded quickly.
Right.
And this is a case where this paint is definitely very old, probably period, again, probably from the 40s and early 50s only as far as this goes. So.
And we did find the original Harley primer sticking underneath the paint. So somebody took factory Harley paint and repainted this machine. So
and it's not an overpaint. I mean, this was
not
done
an overpaint.
Right.
It was done right. It's not an overpaint. I suspect it was probably a crash the dealer got, repainted it, and then resold it as a new vehicle. That is very typical of the era.
So what Todd and I like to say about this bike, because we're really enjoying this restoration, is that really this is a resurrection.
Yeah, it is, and now it's called the Resurrection.
Yes, this bike went through hell, and this bike was well used and well worn and well abused.
Yeah.
So it really is a sort of honor to put this bike and bring it back up. We're being very meticulous about the proper hardware. And actually this bike's probably got 95 to 98% original hardware on it. It's pretty amazing. But we're making sure everything that goes back is correct, proper hardware, and built like it was. So this thing will be mechanically in absolutely like new shape. All the way through.
All the right stuff.
But with the original painted frame, original oil tank, and a period paint job on it.
Right.
The engine's over here, and we've got the lower end done. And I'm now going to be starting working on the top end. But what's nice about this lower end, the engine.
These are all
is
my
over
motors here, by the way.
Yeah, this is the motor here for the 46. And I've rebuilt this engine maintaining all the original finishes. So everything you see on here, even some of the existing paint that was left over here and all this, all the way it was. And so we haven't used any kind of, internally everything is brand new. If you look inside the rods, you'll see that the lower end is all brand new, rods and all that's brand new. But the outside appearance has just been cleaned, meticulously cleaned over and over again.
Right.
And maintaining that original finish. Again, with all the original hardware and nuts and bolts going on this way.
Right. Very important to me to not have a restoration. A cleaning and a restoration are two different things. This is the real deal. Just put back, mechanically sound, and nut and bolt correct perfect. So, the history of these bikes were they were ridden motorcycles. The dealers painted them. They were wrecked. The dealers got them, just like today, fixed them up, resold them. This is probably what happened to this machine. We'll never ever really know. But the motor was so well used and worn, we actually had to find a front cylinder because it had cracked right before I got it, right at the base, which is very typical. And it had chisel marks on all the nuts on the flywheels. So somebody in their farm rebuild had rebuilt this bike many times and somehow had never destroyed it. They kept it original. They kept it how they got it. So it's still an impressive machine. Unfortunately, it's not an original paint, but it is definitely an era. Probably a dealer repaint, somebody who knew what they were doing at any rate. And still a very cool bike.
One of the nice things about it is that I'm very impressed with how much of the original Parkerized pieces are still in really pretty shape on it. Probably that had to do with just the fact that the bike wasn't washed very often. It was so coated with grease.
So totally greased. It saved all what was there of the original patina. Saved it.
So in another week or two, we'll have the engine in it.
Right. We'll do another
video. We're currently working on the wheels.
Right. So the front end at some point, probably after the wreck, had been changed to an offset springer. Now, if you wrecked your bike in 39 or 49 or whatever year it was, and you said, "Oh, I want a springer," they didn't send you the nut and bolt correct part of what we think of today as your new springer. They sent whatever the latest, greatest was. That was the same part number on the shelf. Here you go, and that's what you got. That's just how it was. So it probably was replaced at the time of the wreck when it was fixed. And so I got it with an offset springer, which is incorrect. We do have an inline springer, which is correct for the year. However, it is not original paint, and we will have to fake it until I get an original paint front end. But I'm not going to hold this beautiful bike up over, maybe I'll get a front end one day. So there it is. Here it's coming, and it's going to be very, very nice. And you will be able to see and enjoy this machine. We will take other videos. I hope you enjoy the progress so far. It's a wonderful bike, and trying to find an era repaint that you can document as such is actually, believe it or not, harder to find than an original paint.
Well, I think the interesting thing about this bike that's been really fun is it's been like being a history detective.
Yeah.
You know, you've had to literally, as you tear it apart, you get clues and hints as to what it has gone through, whose hands had done, what had happened to it, how it was repaired.
Right.
And so it's been really, really sort of fun in that process. So that's why we're saying it's a resurrection Harley.
Yep, this is the resurrection. Jesus ain't getting nothing on this bike, let me tell you. Talk to y'all next time. Bye.